Uh, Kate, thank you. As you say, a really busy, complex week in terms of weather. Good morning. It's 8:25. We've been talking about the help available or not to families who have children with disabilities. Earlier, I was joined by Gillian Courtney and her son Nate, who wrote to the Prime Minister because he said he felt sad that his parents had to fight for everything.
We had to really fight to get him help. When he first started school, he didn't like it. He was disrupting the classroom in a very polite way, but he was
Mm,
still,
mm.
he couldn't cope. We applied to get him assessed,
Yeah.
and they refused to. But we went to court, and when we went to court, the judge actually, he was totally on our side,
Mm.
overturned it.
How are things for Nate now?
Oh, you enjoy school
Oh
now.
yeah, I
Oh,
love school now.
That was great to hear Nate talking about enjoying school with his mum, Gillian, who spoke to me earlier. Well, right now, I'm joined by Emma Dalmayne from Woolwich. She started a petition. She says her son, who's autistic, has been refused treatment from his local NHS mental health provider. More than 175,000 people have signed the petition so far, with many people leaving comments saying they had similar experiences. Morning, Emma. Thanks for joining us. Now, we're not naming or saying how old your son is, obviously to keep his identity private. But just tell us a little bit about him and how did he come to be referred?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
My son had mental health crisis at the beginning of 2020. I asked for him to be referred to CAMHS then by the GP, and we heard nothing to date from that referral. I recently took him up to our local hospital. He has complex needs. So he has dyspraxia, which make his legs lock and they're quite painful. So we went up there for that. But he happened to mention to the paediatrician that he had been feeling very low, that he had no plans to harm himself, but that he had been feeling suicidal. She said that she would make an urgent referral to CAMHS, and I said they won't see him.
And why did you want him to be referred to CAMHS particularly? And that's the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services.
Yeah. CAMHS is the only NHS mental health service available in the UK for children and adolescents. So your GP and your paediatrician cannot prescribe antidepressants or anxiety medication. They can't refer you for therapies the way CAMHS can. They're the only people that give mental health support or don't.
And the statement that we have from Oxley's NHS Foundation Trust suggests that there might be other services that are available before a referral is necessary. So do you think perhaps that is why
No.
it would...
No, because it's specifically mental health help that my son needs. The letter that I got from them, which I've seen, it's a copy and paste letter that I've seen many times that other parents have received. And it says that they agree that my son experiences emotional difficulties. But at this time, they do not think that mental health services would be appropriate, and that they are. They also see that he has an ASD diagnosis. Therefore, they are referring him on to MASH, which is safeguarding, and Children with Disabilities team. Neither of those can give mental health help.
So what options are there now to get him the help he needs? I know you've started the petition. How is that going?
It's just hitting 177,000, and it's so sad because there's so many parents on there saying exactly the same thing, that their children have been suicidal, that they've been self-injurious, and they're being turned away. They're being told, oh, your child's autistic, and then, they want to die. We can't do anything about that. We're not going to help you.
And do you think it's a system? So basically there are criteria set, and therefore if it doesn't meet that, then you don't get referred. Do you think it's perhaps the system that may need changing? Is that what you're suggesting?
What I think is that the government is not giving enough funding, because the government doesn't see that our children are worth investing in. That's why we have to fight so hard for early healthcare plans, and any sort of support at all. But they are literally saying, if you're autistic, you can't have mental health issues. If you're autistic, we are not going to help you if you want to die.
One thing we do hear, and I certainly heard from Gillian as well, is this sense of having to fight And I can see from your expression that resonates with you.
I'll tell you what, I've wrote out something to read. I'll do it very quickly. As parents of autistic kids, we are given the message loud and clear by our local authorities and the government that our kids are irrelevant, that they are not worth investing in. We have to fight for support. We have to put in appeals for early health care plans, for SEND specialists and for therapies. And now the only mental health specialists available in the NHS are making us fight for our kids' lives, for our kids' sanity, and for their right to exist. It's unconscionable. They're causing so much harm. Kids are dying because CAMHS won't see them. My son has given me a little thing to read. It's very small.
Yeah,
I think it's a disgrace that some kids don't get the same treatment as non-autistic kids. The sad thing is there is more stuff like this that needs to be changed.
And Emma, what about you? How are you coping?
Luckily enough, I started an organisation, an autistic-led organisation. There's 6 of us on the board, all parents of autistic kids, so I've been getting a lot of support. My son feels empowered knowing, seeing the numbers going up, knowing that there are people behind him. But he also shouldn't have to see this. He shouldn't feel like this and know that actually they don't want to help him because of his neurological makeup.
Emma, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing that with us. It obviously does touch other people as well. 175,000 people, as you say, have signed the petition so far.
177, and a lot of them are autistic adults who have had bad experiences
people
of
saying
mental
they
health
had
support
similar
as well.
experiences.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm asking, if that is you, perhaps you have signed the petition, or perhaps you've had similar experiences or a better experience. Share that with us. Share it with other parents and guardians. 0800 731 2000. Just to say that the response from Oxley's NHS Foundation Trust, Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, which is CAMHS, what Emma was referring to, they say referrals for children and young people with a diagnosis of ASD, ADHD and or a moderate or severe learning disability are accepted on the basis that they are also experiencing a comorbid enduring mental health difficulty.
Like depression or anxiety.
For those with challenging behaviour, but in the absence of a comorbid enduring mental health difficulty, specialist community CAMHS are not the appropriate service to meet their needs. Other services providers are commissioned to provide first-line interventions such as outreach work, psychoeducation for parents, consideration of special school placements, early help intervention. It is only once these interventions have been tried but not responded to that a CAMHS referral may be appropriately reconsidered. That is the statement there from Oxley's NHS Foundation Trust in terms of that CAMHS recommendation. But as Emma says, it feels like she's fighting and she wants that recommendation, and she also wants other parents not to have to go through what she's going through and more support for children with disabilities. It is 8:33. Let's get the headlines now from Matthew.